So welcome to week 2, lesson 2. Today we're going to cover creating outline stroke. Outline stroke is a process in Illustrator which is really important, and the main reason is just to make sure that any images or designs you do have a consistent perspective if they need to be resized to be larger or then downsized to be smaller. So what I've got is my basic square again. I'm going to highlight the square, make the stroke much more visible than what it is on screen, and then I'm going to hold down Alt on my keyboard, click on the object with the black arrow tool and drag. So I've got a duplicate of that square. What I'm going to do now is just make that square much smaller. So what you'll notice is this smaller square, proportionately, it appears as though it's got a darker blue stroke around the outside and there's less yellow space on the inside. So what's happening is Illustrator looks at that stroke, which is 16 point. I'm reading that up here. So, and it's putting a 16 point stroke on that object, and it's also putting a 16 point stroke on the smaller object. What we wanted to do though is to keep the size of that stroke consistent between both objects, okay? Which means it's in proportion. So let me just duplicate this square again by holding down Alt. Then I'll go up to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. So what this has done is it's turned that blue path into an actual stroke, as opposed or into an actual path as opposed to a stroke. So if I then resize this, you'll notice that the proportion is the same, but it's not a 16 point stroke width. So those two images are actually consistent because they've got the same ratio of blue to yellow in each square, whereas these two are inconsistent because it appears as though there is more blue on that square than there is on the larger square. So where this becomes important is if you're drawing faces or people or any other kind of object or landscape. So for instance, if I start drawing a face, copy both of these, group them, align them to the center, and then draw a big smile. Just going to go over and make that stroke thicker than 1 point. Put 2 little eyes in the center. Make these black. Actually, let's turn these eyes so that they're a white outline instead. We'll make this stroke bigger. So say you have this man on your map for your first assignment project. I copy and paste and then I resize because you've made your map bigger. What's happened is it's kept the stroke at the same width, so you don't see that it's a face anymore. So what you need to do is select all, Object, Path, Outline Stroke. You'll see that the blue lines change from being on the inside, which indicates it's a stroke, to being on the outside and around the object, which indicates that it's an outline. Okay? So that's outline stroke.